Hi there, it's Michelle Patterson, and you are with the Real Share Daily Huddle. This is my favorite time of the day. I picked the time that I was born. 4:02 is when we started. And I am just enjoying life, meeting with the individuals that are part of my wellness team family, this group of individuals that I put together this past year who I believe are superheroes. They're doing incredible stuff on the planet. And what they're all about is sharing what they're learning with the individuals that they love so that we all can be collectively better together. And I want to point out we've got, and I think, Sarah, you might be the youngest person that I've had on my podcast so far to date.
Yeah, possibly. I'm 23, so possibly.
23. Well, you've done some pretty awesome things. And I think the biggest thing is that you know how to surround yourself with people that are doing big stuff, but also ask for that support, ask for that help, and not be afraid to share your genius and just say, hey, this is what I'm all about. I'm going to share with our tribe a little bit about your background. So Sarah Colcord is the founder of the New Zealand Made Products Facebook group. She started this during COVID-19 lockdown period, which the Real Share is feels very partnered with you because we also started this and haven't missed a day. We've been having it every single day as well at 4:00. In 4 weeks, you have amassed over 450,000 members in this Facebook group, which supports small businesses across the country. And when I say country, really it's the world because you jumped over now to the US, but you're talking about New Zealand. And you're helping the country of New Zealand survive and thrive. You're 23 years old and based in Auckland, New Zealand, and doing some pretty cool stuff. And you're also partnered with my very dear friend, who's also part of our wellness team family, and he's part of Global Women Foundation, is our good friend, Julian.
Mr. Julian Knoll, yes.
He's unstoppable.
He is. Yep. He's awesome.
You guys have been rocking it and doing your podcast. I was on his podcast and the big summit that they did this last couple of weeks, which was really just a great week of information and resources and talking about what we're doing. So let's jump into it because I feel like what you did, I mean, did you have any idea that just 4 short weeks ago, you'd start this Facebook page and now I know it's almost close to 500,000.
Yes. Yeah, so nearly 500,000. So no, I did not anticipate that the page or the group would grow in 4 weeks to 450,000 members, not only across New Zealand, but also globally. So out of the 450,000 members, 20,000 of those come from Australia, 2,000 come from the UK, 2,000 from America, and so on and so on. And so actually it is a localized Facebook group, but it's actually taking our local products to a global audience as well. So have not anticipated the success of this group at all. It's a good position to be in. I'm not complaining though.
Well, and you and I on a Zoom call, and we were talking, and it's so much so we were almost a little bit disruptive because we wanted to go ahead and find out about each other and exchange information. And we were giddy. It was like, okay, where have you been? And what's cool is that we've been pulling together, I think of, these other powerhouse women that Julian has been pulling together. And he said to me, he goes, Michelle, I have this inner drive of connecting the dots with these powerhouse women from around the world. And he goes, when I thought about who I knew in America, it was you. And then I thought about who I knew, that I'm doing these different things. And so he's been pulling us together. Let's talk a little bit about how you even started. Like, how did you even know to start a Facebook page to talk about New Zealand products and businesses? I mean, how did that even come about?
Yeah, so I'm a small business owner myself. So in New Zealand, there are 600,000 small businesses. So they are the backbone of our country. And I'm a small business owner myself, very much like yourself. I'm in event management in New Zealand. And when lockdown happened in New Zealand, so we went into a 4-week period of lockdown, I lost all of my contracts. And obviously, as a consequence, I also lost income, and that income would keep a roof over my head, put food on my table. And so I was in this position where I was like, I need income and I need a way to boost the profile of my business without having to go into my pockets, which are very small already, and pull out money and invest that into marketing costs that don't work for me. And so in my thinking and my processes, I had a look around Facebook to see what other event management companies were doing, to have a look at what other businesses were doing to pivot and to start adapting. I noticed a lot of event companies were starting to move their events online. In my case, that wasn't really something I was able to do because I had already lost those contracts. And so for me, it was about boosting the profile of my business without having to resort to exuberant marketing costs, which I didn't have money for because I'm a small business owner. So in my research and in my thinking, I ended up stumbling across another Facebook group, and it was called Australian Made Products. So essentially it was the Australian version. And with this group, I had noticed as I was checking it out, it had only been around for 4 months and it had 1.5 million members. And I thought, wow, there must be a New Zealand version of this Facebook group somewhere where I could be able to promote my business and hopefully get some new clients out of it. And as I looked around, it came to my attention that there was no New Zealand version of this Facebook group. So that's what prompted me to start this New Zealand version, which is now called New Zealand Made Products. And in this group, there are 450,000 members. We started it 4 weeks ago, and about half of those are small business owners from across the country. And we approve about 200 posts a day. And these businesses, as soon as they get their posts approved, sell out, or they get 3 months of bookings in advance. And that's a huge impact for these small businesses who otherwise would have no income during this time, like myself, would not have the money available to even put food on their table or to look after their family. We also estimated that in the 4 weeks that this Facebook group has been live, about 4 million worth of transactions have taken place in this group because of this Facebook group.
I'm so proud. I mean, partly it's just, you and I connected. It was like instant, this connectivity, and we were thinking about what's possible. How can we really work collectively together and help one another out? Like you, it's, having put on conferences and live events, we needed to shift. And so often individuals look at adversity as a negative. They look at it as, this is something where it's crushing. I can't continue on in the way that I'm doing it. And they look at other opportunities as, unattainable and not reachable. And you didn't hold anything back. I mean, you had this mindset of like, you know what, I not doing it is going to make it so that my business does fail, but I'm going to have it. And so to be able to make it where these organizations, these companies, these products are selling out is remarkable.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I mean, I like to think that I see things pretty black and white. So for me, when I lost those contracts and subsequently lost my income, I saw it as I can either mellow and sit in this moment and think, poor me, the victim, or I can actually do something about it. I can take action. I can adapt. I can look into this a bit further. What can I do during this period of time? Which, me and you discussed before, this period of time that's seen as a reset. What can I do moving forward? And so obviously I jumped on that opportunity to not sit in that victim mentality and mindset and just actually, it's time to do something, or else, there's nothing's going to come out of just sitting here doing nothing.
That is so exciting. And think about you being this role model. And I know how it feels when people say, gosh, Michelle, talk about courage, and you went and did this. And for me, and I was telling my husband this today, I said, you don't even think, it's like, that's just what you do. I mean, you get in, you take action, you put one foot in front of the other, and you just go for it. And in taking action, I mean, that in itself is soothing. It makes you feel like, okay, I can do this. And you had a lot of individuals that jumped in and said, hey, let me support you. Let's do this together, which I thought was really, really exciting.
Yeah. So just on that, so I have a volunteer team of 18 people from across New Zealand. Half of them don't even know me. The other half I haven't seen in years, but they've all voluntarily put up their hand to be a part of this Facebook group. And what I mean by that is they're the moderators. So they take care of this page in between their full-time jobs, in between their family commitments. So they're on there at like 9 o'clock at night to 11 or to midnight, approving and declining posts, checking on the reports, XYZ, things like that. And I'm really grateful for that support, because it actually enables me to step away and to be able to have the time to focus on the long-term plans. Because obviously we've got this Facebook group now, but what's next? Because there's an opportunity here to continue to grow, to move this and to add more value into this group. So I'm really grateful for my team of volunteers.
It's amazing too, in how many people, they just need to know that you need the support. They absolutely will help. They'll jump in and support you. But oftentimes, because we don't ask for the support, nobody knows. And so they can't jump in and help. My team is also 100% volunteer. This came out of a project, as you know, with my diagnosis. And I thought, you know what, there's got to be more options available out there for my wellness than, just a chemo or radiation or surgery. There's got to be healthy options available. And so when I put that out there, I've got, individuals that are super, super talented and successful that said, you know what, they raised their hand and said, absolutely, I believe in what you're doing, and I want to help out and contribute. And that's been really exciting to see.
Yeah.
Truly.
That's exactly what I've had on my end. Like I said, they're all volunteers, but what keeps them here, every day volunteering their time, is the impact that they're creating and that they're seeing, and the messages that they're getting every day from businesses saying, I've sold out of my products. So they really not only believe in my work that I'm doing, but also believe in this bigger vision that we're contributing to.
Well, and that's why I'm excited too to have you on board as well, because it's this matter of, and we just had, in fact, Liz Schumacher, who just showed up. We're talking about individuals having spare time. There's going through transition, some job loss, and what they're doing, instead of showing up and being frantic, they're saying, you know what, I've got some time. How can I be of service? How can I help out? And jumping in. And that's, truly remarkable. So I want to say thank you, Liz Schumacher, for jumping in. She had texted me earlier. She's one of my closest friends and is always constantly saying, what do you need help with? How can I volunteer? How can I support you in what you're doing? And most of my friends, in order to be around me, because I'm so purpose oriented and focused, that in order to spend time with me, they're having to do these projects with me and work collectively.
Sounds like me. I want to hang out with you. Well, you got to work.
I'm like, you want to hang out? Well, I have a podcast that's live at 4:00. You can come and show up and hang out. So I wanted to say thanks. I told Liz, she goes, you want me to come on? I could be watching. I go, come on aboard, come on.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. It's pretty exciting.
You're so welcome.
I'm kind of home. I'm not working right now. And so I reached out to Michelle a few times because I'm so excited about all the great news and all you're bringing to the table. And I just said, I watch you all the time. And so she had me come on the Zoom call.
Nice.
So I just didn't comb my hair today. So sorry.
Hey, I'm happy that I brushed my teeth today. I put the hair back. You know, my daughter came over and she's like, "Mom, your hair kind of looks a little bit." and I'm live streaming from my girlfriend's house, Lisa Varga. So I'm actually across where I live, across the lake, and I'm home alone. Her kids and the husband are out of town. She's gone on a business meeting and going to be coming back. But it's just nice to have a change of scenery and be out of your typical environment. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm looking at those ceilings, those high beams. Beautiful? I'm like, where is she?
Yeah, really, really beautiful. And so I want to go back to this concept of having a vision and then going for it and being okay with any of the naysayers or people who feel like, you know, hey, this can't be done, or why are you spending time on this? As I've had that my whole life. I mean, people looked at me and said, what, you're going to create like what project? And you're going to do this global project. I've always looked at it as, why not? You know, why can't we do it? And Sarah, I'm so impressed with you because you went out there on a limb and said, I'm going to put this together, and had great success. And you're not just resting on this recent success that you've had with getting almost 500,000 people on this Facebook page, Liz, and literally just a matter of 3, almost 4 weeks. I mean, look at where it's going to be after we get done with this. And you look at Dipika, and you look at Julian, and you look at what you're doing, Sarah, and then, you know, I've got the US coming on board, and we're pulling these pieces together. But it's powerful. It's powerful when we hold that vision, and then we share our vision, and then we absolutely come together and really co-create. It comes back not only twofold, it's really the power of 10xing yourself, because each individual is able to apply their genius and really step into their God-given talent and how they can support this vision and this project.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. And did you ever feel like, gosh, I don't have all the answers, I don't have all the information, but that's okay. I got people I can ask.
Yeah. And even from the beginning, I didn't even have a full understanding of what I was creating. But for me in my line of work, I have always just chased a little idea and then built on that. So for me, it's never been about having a solid vision. You know, you need to have it on a Google Doc, and it has to be written down, and you need a board with it or anything like that. For me, it's just, what's that nugget idea that I can chase and then build on, and then from there create this really organic movement where every day I'm tweaking something, I'm adding something, I'm fixing something, and for me, that's how I build my visions. Just chasing that little nugget idea. And I really like your point around sharing that vision, or sharing the work you're doing. You know, for me, it was really hard for me to ask for help. I didn't ask for help until the second week of this Facebook group. And I'm sitting there with 250,000 members. I'm the only person on the team, and there's 7,000 posts in our backlog waiting to be approved. And I thought, I could do this by myself while I'm working my full-time job. No, that was not going to work.
Well, a lot of people, they don't want to open it up out of fear that somebody else is going to take it over, or they're going to lose control. Whereas with you, to be able to ask for help means that you have to be vulnerable. Exactly. You have to be transparent, and you have to show up in this space of integrity and just say, hey, you know what? I need the help, and communicate what this vision is and hold space for the vision.
Exactly. And even on those initial stages when I asked for help, I only asked 5 people, where actually I needed another 10. And so for me, I was kind of just giving little pieces at a time over, giving that little bit of ownership over at a time, at a pace that I was somewhat comfortable with. but it wasn't enough to keep up with the group and the growth that was happening. And so that was my first lesson, is actually I needed to be a bit more vulnerable from the get-go, and to have been honest with myself and said, actually, I can't do this on my own. I need more people. I need more support. I need to be more honest with myself. And there's no shame in that either. I mean, that's just more people to love, more people to bring into your line of work, more people to bring into your bubble and share this big success and this big mission with. And I'm adding more moderators every single day. So at this point now, I'm giving heaps of pieces out.
We're starting to feel that with the Real Share, and especially in the relationship that we have with organizations like yourself that are conscious communities where they're coming together in the spirit of, how can I be of service? How can I show up and help this companies that maybe are struggling, and I could help out. So I'd love for you to share just some of these success stories about how individuals have shared their product, service, what they're all about, and then it's come back in twofold where they've sold out. I mean, you've had some really, really exciting, just really exciting examples that are tearjerkers, because it's so, I mean, these companies were on the brink of going out of business. I mean, but for you coming on board and creating this platform, these individuals would not be in business today.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said earlier, that's $4 million worth of transactions that have taken place in the group alone. That's $4 million worth of transactions that wouldn't have happened at all without this group. And in terms of the stories that I'm hearing, so I get hundreds of messages a day from business owners who are just thanking me and sharing their stories with me. And I make sure I always capture their testimonials and their testimonies. And there's a few that stand out for me. One was, I posted it up the other day anonymously. A lady had shared with me that she makes bags for a living. And as soon as lockdown happened in New Zealand, all of her orders were being cancelled left, right, and centre. And she felt that she could have went to them and said, no, you've already placed the order. I've already received your payment. You can't cancel it. But actually she went to all of them because she empathized that everyone was in the same sort of situation across the country in terms of they didn't have enough money. She issued those refunds, and consequently she lost money herself. For her, that was a really big impact in terms of the lockdown and the impact it had on her business, because one, her daughter had a heart defect, and so her husband couldn't actually go to work with the risk that he could come back contaminated and consequently contaminate the daughter as well. And so she was the sole provider for 4 weeks. And after she posted in this group, she sold out of products, and she has months of orders in advance. And she reached out to me just to say, your page has literally kept a roof over my head and food on my table. And without this group, I wouldn't be able to eat. My daughter wouldn't be able to eat. My partner wouldn't be able to eat. And those are the stories that I'm hearing every day. The impact that a Facebook group, a curated Facebook group, can have for these small businesses across the country. That's one of the ones that stands out to me. I get a lot of messages as well. I interviewed a guy the other day, and he said his post got approved at about 11 o'clock at night, and by the morning when he checked his phone, he had 30 orders. And then by the end of the day, he was sitting on 700 orders. And for him, that means he was able to make the payments for his house, be able to feed his family. And because of the success of the group, he's actually been able to employ another 5 people. So that's 5 people in his area that wouldn't have a job, that didn't have income during this period of time. So it's not only made an impact to his own business, but it's made an impact to an additional 5 lives in his area.
Isn't that so remarkable? And again, it started out from an idea, a concept, and in setting it up. I mean, it didn't take more than a few hours just to go in and set up this platform. It was
a few minutes.
I was going to give the benefit of the doubt to the older folks. You're She's 23, Liz. Liz and I just celebrated our 50th birthday.
Wow.
So as my son and daughter, who are, my daughter is 22, and then I've got a son who's turning 21. And they're like, Mom, you've got to get, and I go, you guys, I'm really with it. I mean, I do have this Facebook, but what's happening is, and we're doing this with our wellness, is we're truly setting up a disruptor. And so with my Facebook page and with the relationships that we're forming over the waters, and specifically with New Zealand, and I mean, I've got relationships. I mean, it's just amazing. I literally travel the planet throughout the day in having conversations with individuals like yourself that are just showing up with an open heart, and they're coming to the table saying, you know what, there's another way possible to do this, and that is, rather than work independently and alone and by yourself, which is not fun at all, you came out and said, you know what, I am willing to be vulnerable. I am on the brink of losing my business. I've just lost all my contracts. And rather than go inward and go into seclusion, you said, I'm going to do just the opposite. I'm going to go out there and share with people, hey, this is my story. This is my situation. And this is how I can be of service. And all of a sudden, people started saying,
showing up.
They started showing up and saying, I absolutely can do this. So I want to applaud you for doing exactly what I believe as humans that we are happiest doing, is that when we are of service and we are giving back and we get out of our own way, that's when the magic happens. That's when, our genius comes in. That's when we're able to really express our true essence of what it's all about.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Something really big that we speak about in New Zealand, and that we're constantly sharing with young people over here about, is the concept of servant leadership, which is based off a lot of people, such as, Jesus is a perfect example of servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I've carried with me my whole entire life. My background is not actually business. My business is secondary. What my key work is actually youth and community development. So I'm essentially a youth worker that works with a lot of young people across the country. And servant leadership is what has taken me into all of these different spaces, into all of these different places, and given me all of the different opportunities that I've had in my 23 years. And this Facebook group is just another output of servant leadership, creating a group where I can be of service to all of the small businesses across the country and enable them to not only survive, but be able to come out thriving during this period of time.
How do you do it too? Because there's a lot of folks out there that are afraid to ask for the help. And so when you had that first 2 weeks and it was like, okay, this is bigger than I thought it was going to be, how did you muster up the courage just to say, hey, I need the support?
It took a lot. So like I said, it initially started with me contacting one person at a time and saying, hey, would you be okay coming on board? Or would you like to come on board for this project XYZ? And as I started getting these people on board and they started encouraging and uplifting me, but, supporting me as well, I realized actually this journey is not just about me supporting all of these other businesses. I actually need a team around me supporting me. It's easy for us to be at the front, leading and holding all of these people around us, in front of us, but actually we need someone to actually hold us in our bubble as well, and to support us and to provide that development and that support and that encouragement to keep us going during these times. And as I reached out to each person and individual to bring on into this project, it was their words of encouragement and the uplifting that actually it's okay to give a little piece away. It's okay to protect what I have, but it's also okay to give a little bit over. And so that's how I yeah, that's where the vulnerability and all of that came. Yeah.
And I like the fact that you said that too, is that I recognized that I needed support. I think that's what happens so often. And for me, and you know my story with being diagnosed stage 4 breast cancer, you know, that really took me back and said, you know what, I need to be vulnerable. I need to raise my hand. I need to ask for support. You know, I can't be the one that's, you know, the superhero all the time that's got it all under control. It's I gotta be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm stuck. And once I did that, and once I just released this feeling of having to have it all together and being this superhero woman and just saying, you know what, it's okay for me to say yes to, you know, my girlfriend Karen who's bringing food over, or Kathy who's bringing food over, or, you know, Liz who called and said, all right, you know, every time you have an event, she's in charge of VIP. She handles all the VIP, and she says, okay, I'm coming on. And I told her, you know, we had 4,000 people show up for the live stream that I did with Love Fest 2020. And that we did on our birthdays, May 2nd. And it was just great because it was something we hadn't done before. I had done International Women's Day and pulled this in, but I realized very quickly that in order for me to have it be as expansive and really just let the control go and not feel like I had to control every piece, once I made that decision and asked for help, that's when it blew up. That's when it created, it like had a life of its own. And I did feel supportive. The stress went away. So right at that 2-week point, when you started asking individually for help and then having moderators come on board and dividing up the workload, did you feel like the anxiety and the despair dissipate?
Yeah, definitely. As I saw the numbers of the backlog drop, you know, when I was looking at that 7,000 posts waiting to be approved, you know, anxiety instantly. I was like, and that's again what prompted me to reach out for help when I realized actually I'm way over my head. And in order for this group to succeed, I'm going to need to actually let some people in. I can't do this on my own. The group might last maybe another week if I chose to do this on my own. But for the sustainability and for the long-term goal of where I'm trying to head, I need to bring people on board for this. Yeah.
Well, and this is why I was so excited to have you on the show. Because we said what we were going to do, where we're like, all right, we're on a Zoom call, and we said, you know what, we're absolutely going to do this together, and we did. And it was like a week later, and that says a lot because I pride myself on not having it come out of my mouth unless I do it and I mean it. And otherwise, it's like, you know, keep it in, you know. Yeah. And that's me being true to myself. It's me showing up in integrity. It's me, you know, really, really, when I express myself, it's people know that they can count on me and I am going to follow through with what I say. And that's how I experienced our relationship in just meeting. It was like, gosh, we're going to do some cool stuff. I mean, some really cool stuff. And so what we've been having happen with the Real Share is individuals have been reaching out to me. So I'm right at that place that you were at that 2-week mark. And that was having, I mean, I have every day individuals reaching out that have serious diagnosis where they're suffering from stage 4 cancer. They've got, they just came out of surgery. I mean, literally, I mean, every day. My husband looked at me the other night and he's like, are you okay? And I was crying because I'm just like, there's so much pain that's happening right now on the planet. And there's so many people that are feeling so alone and by themselves, and they don't need to be. That we absolutely have organizations like ours that can be there as a resource. And I think oftentimes they just don't know that the resources are available. And so what we're doing is, and this is where I'm at, and you bringing this up, is that we need to have moderators come on board so that they do have a pathway where we can go ahead and respond back. Because on one side, I've got these thought leaders, humanitarians, doctors, wellness providers, healers over here, and they're not good at marketing themselves. They're focused on their work that they're doing and their passion, but when it comes to sharing with the rest of the world what it is that they do, they struggle with that. And so you have this element, and I mean, true superheroes and just doing incredible things. And then you have over here, you got individuals that need the support, that want additional healthy options. And so right now in the United States, we've got limited resources that we're being told about. So for example, you have stage 4 cancer, and I've gone with my girlfriends. I ended up very quickly when I came out publicly, and I chose to tell people, it's like, yes, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and I am very interested in, if you have resources and what you went through, and not only on preventative, but also on other diagnoses. And the company that I had prior to this was a company that focused on looking at sleep, pain, stress, anxiety, cancer, and talking to individuals, not only just from the United States, but from around the world, and asking them, what are you doing? What resources did you personally experience? Not something that you were sold or that you were told, but what's something that you firsthand experienced, and then to have them share, what it was. And so making that match. And so for me, my business owners, the products that we have are coming from these wellness providers, and they're going, and we're making that connection with the individuals that need that expertise. They need that protocol and that healing platform to heal. And it has to be where they own it themselves. It can't be where somebody is telling them, you need to do this, this, and this. It has to be where they're truly stepping in and owning their wellness. Do you find, as you're making those connections with your curated group of businesses, how is that coming about? Is it because you've created this platform where people are coming in very intentional and they're sharing what they know?
Yeah.
Because I've watched you guys, you and Julian did I think a fabulous job. And I went in, I was commenting back. I'm like, your sister from Cali. You went in and you were talking to them about being able to share their product, share their service. But for many of them, I'm noticing that it's coming from a place of this is their life mission.
Yeah. And that's the reality over here is, for some people, this is the sole income of their family, or this is what they've invested their savings into, or this is literally a piece of their heart. They really love and believe in their products and they want it to succeed. And from the beginning of this Facebook group, what I set out was creating a place of storytelling. So enabling the business owners to speak directly with buyers and sharing their stories and the reality of what's actually going on out there, not as a way to feel sorry for me and buy my products, but actually this is the reality of what our business owners are going through, and the importance of why you should support us. But there's also something really authentic about that storytelling when business owners are sharing directly with people who would, in this case, be consumers, which you don't usually get when you're on a website. And it's very transactional, where you go, you find the product you want, you buy it, that's it, you've left the website. But there's something really authentic in this two-way transaction that's taking place in the group, which is where a lot of the success is coming from. Because for the first time, business owners are talking directly with consumers, and consumers are being able to speak directly with business owners, and business owners are able to be as authentic as possible, and vice versa. And there's this really intimate transactional relationship taking place that goes outside of the product, that goes outside of the business, that goes outside of the services that they may offer. And that's why it's drawing a lot of people in, because not only are businesses able to promote their products, but they're actually able to speak to other business owners, get advice, get support, network. I've seen a lot of businesses actually connect with each other and say, hey, when we're out of this lockdown, I'll be happy to take on your products in my shop as well. So there's this networking taking place in this little ecosystem where businesses are connecting, supporting, and empowering each other during this time. And something that's I've really ensured that's not taking place in the group is this competition. So we don't do any competition in the group. I've eliminated that. This is not about competing with one another. You know, outside of this lockdown or this Facebook group, competition is a normality among businesses. You know, you talk about competitors all the time. It's something that's always on your mind. But in this space, everyone's on the same playing field. Everyone is on the same level. Everyone is going through the same challenges and the same crisis, and we're all in, you know, this has given us a sense of unity. There's no competition here. We all just want to see each other survive and thrive.
And this is, to me, I mean, this is exactly what it's all about. I mean, we're literally talking, you're in New Zealand, you know, I'm in California, and we've been at the same time building these organizations. Mine's focused on providing wellness providers and patients, you know, collectively together, and to have where there is no competition, there is no fear tactics being used. You know, we talk a lot about this. I mean, I'd share this with you. I had a doctor who said to me, you know, you have, you know, 90 days to live. If you don't start this chemo treatment and you go on a cannabis protocol, you will not be here in 90 days. And I remember looking at her and saying, okay, well, first of all, I'm recording this. You know that because I'm on this journey. And she goes, oh yeah, keep recording it. And I'm thinking, like, how are you? You don't get to decide when I go. It's, you know, I'm co-creating this with God. You know, God and I are on the same page, but you don't get to come in and say, you know, if I don't do this or I do this. And so for me, it's about creating a safe place, a safety zone for individuals to come and then just share, you know, what they know. And what's so exciting about this is that I'm getting so much feedback from places outside of the United States where they have looked at, you know, healing modalities from Germany, you know, which is the one that I'm on. That's actually, you know, I just got back results yesterday from my PET scan that showed a 5 to 10% drop in the cancer growth. And that's super, super exciting because it was a team of doctors that I put together, and unanimously they all came up with, okay, this is the path that you need to take. At first they were telling me to take, to go ahead and have radiation. And I wasn't upset about it or anything because they were coming to the table, and I refer to it as the kitchen table, having a conversation around the heart of the home. And there was no competitiveness. Egos weren't coming in. And you see that sometimes with business owners, with doctors, where individuals will come in and feel like they have to really sell, you know, their product, their story. And it's not about that. It's about what's available on the planet and what can we share with one another and speak from firsthand experience. And so back to your comment about storytelling, and that's what I'm finding is I'm having these doctors share their story about why they got into the space of healthcare, and being a wellness provider is really magical. I mean, it's really, it's what drew them in to, you know, to having a life filled with purpose of being that healer and helping one another and just some brilliant just soulful individuals, which is the people that I want to be around. I mean, I'm not limited now to just this, I'm not limited to just California or to my own city. I can hop on a Zoom call, with my friend Sarah in New Zealand, and we can start comparing this information and what we know. And that's so excited. For us, what we've been paying very, very close attention to is, and this is with my wellness team family. So if you have a WTF moment and you need to tap in to your wellness team family, but is a group that is creating an environment that is safe, that doesn't use stigmas and fear tactics. We don't have the drama that's coming in. I mean, it's individuals that are just wanting to show up and help.
Yeah.
And practice what you referred to, which I think is the really the headliner here, and that is servant leadership.
That's good.
Yeah. And so talk to me about the framework. I have watched the show, and I love that you guys came back and you're like, Michelle, I got to get the real share on there, and so I'm excited about that next step and linking, these pieces, because I think it's just going to, blow up, and having that perspective of wellness. And again, it doesn't matter where you are on the planet. We want to know what you're doing, who you're talking to. I want to hear about those rock star doctors that are out there that are just doing incredible things. I mean, I'm amazed at the team that has come together, and nobody is getting paid. I mean, they want to share what they know. And so tell me the process that you are going through, because I know that you're giving individuals time on your podcast to share their story.
Yeah. So, as well as, people can post in the group, and then they have to wait in the queue, and then we approve their posts. We are also really big on adding value to the group. So we don't just want it to be a marketplace where people or promote their products and essentially are advertising their businesses or services, but we actually want to create an ecosystem that is creating value for these business owners, so that they can walk away out of this lockdown that we're having in New Zealand, walking away thriving. And with that, we started this podcast where we interview business owners across the country, small business owners across the country, about how they're doing during this time. So what has the impact of this lockdown and COVID-19 been on your business? And what have you learned? What have you done to adapt or pivot? And what advice would you have to other business owners out there? So that's our basic structure. But obviously, as we get in conversation with these business owners and we hear more about their stories, where they've come from, what they create, the struggles and their challenges, the conversations are a bit more organic as we ask questions, and as the audience or the members of this group also ask questions and advice from these business owners. And it's been a real pleasure. We've met some incredible business owners across the country that we typically wouldn't have met. It's incredible what we can do with technology nowadays. I don't have to take a flight down to the other end of my country to meet with these business owners. I can jump on this link and have a chat with them for 20 minutes. And there's just something really powerful about authentic business owners coming to the table and just sharing their heart out, sharing about their challenges, being authentic, not trying to put on their big muscles and their big ego and not say it how it is, but actually just sharing how it really is, because the struggle is really real out there. And there's something really powerful in that, and that's what our members and other business owners are really captivated and enjoying about these podcasts, is actually, wow, there's other people out there like myself going through the similar struggles, going through the similar challenges, and it creates a sense of I'm not in this alone. And they say that loneliness is the biggest killer. Your business could be struggling, you could be unwell, but actually loneliness is the biggest killer if you believe that you're in something alone. And part of this ecosystem or this Facebook group that I've created is adding value and enabling businesses to be authentic and share it how it is. And that's the process we've been going through. So we simply just message or find someone in the group who is doing really well, which is all of them, flick them a message, and whoever gets back to us is, first and first serve. We get them on the podcast a few hours later. And that's as simple as it gets. We don't do any big checks. You have to sign XYZ or anything like that. We don't get any money out of it. We really just want to sit down with these business owners at the table and be authentic as possible so that other business owners can also be authentic as possible.
Well, I'm excited for what we're building collectively together, because it is so expansive. It is truly global. A couple questions that I have, and then I also wanted to turn it over, and I saw that Rose Tafoya had come up, and she's been doing my programming for the last decade for the California Women's Conference, Sarah. So she's somebody
Nice.
that I absolutely want you to know. And I know she might have some questions as well, and I'm going to unmute her and definitely Liz. But one of the things I have too, and again, I already know these answers, but when you talked about having individuals come and then have a giveaway, and these organizations, these businesses are being extremely generous, and they are giving back. And we've had it where, Sharon Lecter, we had her on, and she's affiliated with Think and Grow Rich and 3 Feet from Gold. And when we pull it together with our 5 to Thrive, and so we say, we don't want to survive, we want to thrive.
Yeah.
And have it be in our 5 to Thrive, which is career, physical, financial, social, and community, and what we've done with the California Women's Conference. But having individuals come on where they don't feel alone, because they recognize, gosh, there's this entire community of individuals that, wow, they're going through what I'm going through. And, and in doing it collectively together, we can absolutely change gears and revamp. But I really, really enjoy, Jack Canfield. We're doing an entire program with him through Young Living, where he's working with essential oils. And so I'm able to set up a toxic-free home, which is all about what we're about at The Real Share. And that is at the home front, providing these toxic-free remedies, products, that people can trust, because right now, in particular, with all the fake news that's out there and being sold to, we don't have that confidence in the media and what we're being communicated to. And so I wanted to recognize that comment that you had earlier, and that is how businesses are showing up and giving away so much.
Yeah.
Is there anything that stands out like, wow, that was just like super powerful, because they didn't have anything, and they were like, you know what, I'm going to share, with what I have.
And a lot of the giveaways, so for people who don't know the context, I'll just paint the context. So in this Facebook group, New Zealand Made Products, businesses across the country submit a post promoting their products, and eventually we approve it. I say eventually because there's a bit of a wait time, because we have so many waiting there. But not only that, we enable businesses to do giveaways, and that enables them to get a little bit more exposure. And the businesses that do the giveaways are ones who are coming from a place of gratitude. So they've posted previously in the group, and they've had so much success. They've sold out. They've tripled their sales. As they would usually go to the markets every Saturday, but the amount of money they've in products they've sold in 24 hours in this group compared to going to the markets for 3 months. And so, they're coming from a place of gratitude, and they really just want to give back to the members of the group, who are people across New Zealand, for their support.
Well, I'm excited about this next chapter. I've loved running with Julian, and I was really thrilled to just have your, you were, I think, just as excited as I was. We were like, we could not wait to like get done with the call. 'Cause it's like, oh my God, I have somebody else that has that same passion and same, they're driven like I am. And so this is going to be a fun project. It's going to be, I think we come up for air when we're at 5 million.
That sounds good. I've already been asked when I'm taking a holiday. I said, "What's a holiday?"
Did they? Yeah, and I want you to meet Rose Tafoya, who you're going to be hearing a lot from, and then you had a chance to meet Liz. And what we do is, we dance it out. But I would love to have you back on. I'm excited to be on your podcast, and really let's join efforts and have fun. I mean, let's play. Because the resources are there. It's available on the planet. I know for one, I mean, I'm healing because of what is on the planet right now. I mean, I'm healing because of it. So I'm just thrilled to work with you. And how does somebody get a hold of the New Zealand Facebook page? Let me go ahead and have you say it, and then join us as we dance. We spend a lot of it dancing.
Yeah, so just to plug in my group, the Facebook group is called New Zealand Made Products. So New Zealand Made Products, it's a Facebook group, and anybody can join it. We don't have any limitations in terms of international or globally, and it's a marketplace where people across New Zealand are selling their goods and their services. Yeah, so that's the Facebook group.
Well, we're going to be tapping. The real share is going to New Zealand, because we're going to be finding out all the wellness products and everything that's available out there. And it's one family, one planet. So welcome to the family, Sarah. We're excited to work with you. You've got your crazy aunties that are out in California that are supporting you. And I'm really, really proud of your courage and just holding that space and that vision to just go for it. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be on here. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Dance with us. This is our favorite part.